Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's day 39 of reading the Bible until we reach the end. As you guys can kind of hear my voice, it's a little bit raspy, a little bit messed up. It's because I was at that camp, finally in a new shirt. Isn't that freaking awesome? And today, we are actually continuing the story of Joseph. And today isn't like last time. Isn't like yesterday where it was kind of like a split in the road to view morals on different levels. Today we're just gonna get right on into it, and I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time, so let's hop right into it. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian official who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph, so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favors in the eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of this house and of all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Imagine that. Imagine how awesome that would be in life if all you had to worry about was just the food you ate. Nothing else. You got to worry about meetings. You got to worry about plans. You got to worry about school assignments. You got to worry about, waking up on time. I don't know. Things you don't got to worry about. Things you got to worry about that you don't got to worry about anymore. And now Potiphar's living on cruise control. So Joseph has really, really made this house awesome. You know what I mean? The Lord has extremely blessed him. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. Ooh, he's a hottie. And after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me." Yikes. Lady, mayday, we have a problem. This is no bueno. Potiphar's wife has been looking at Joseph. Got some eye candy. And now she's like, come with me. Now Joseph, being the righteous man he is, spoiler alert, he says no. We're going to see where this goes. But he refused. "With me in charge," he told her, "my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except for you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" Yes, Joseph, yes. Now, Joseph rejected sin, regarding it as like a wicked act and treachery against his master, and as a defiling and rebellious act before a holy God. Because Joseph's conscience was bound by God and his truth, he was able to resist the evil suggestion more than once. Further on, pleasing God was more important than Joseph than engaging in the pleasures of sin for a season. The fear and reverence of God was the directing power of his life. That was a little note that I wrote from a past time reading this. And I think it just really gets the point across that he's like, it's got to go God. God has to come first. He has to get above all these temptations. And I know that a lot of people out here, we all have stuff that we struggle with. And if you guys have any prayer requests, please just, I'm on YouTube now, so I guess leave them in the comments. I guess that's what I'm supposed to say. But any prayer requests you guys have, and I'll be more than happy to pray. And I know that it's hard to type those things out. So if not, then you can just DM me on any social media platform that I have. I got Snapchat, I got Instagram, I got a good old phone number. If you guys are old fashioned, just ask me for my phone number and I'll give it to you. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. I'm trying to grow in my faith as well. And I feel like the best way to do that is to also get in a group with other Christians and learn with them. Anyways, Verse 10. And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. So he is completely removing himself from temptation. And I really agree with that. I think that's the greatest way, obviously, to get rid of temptation, is just to not be near it. Not put yourself into those situations where you're gonna be tempted, if that makes sense. Verse 11. One day he went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants were inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out the house. So he didn't even care. He was gone like the wind. He was gone. Joseph is a good man. He's a good man. He's God's man. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and had run out of the house, she called her household servants. "Look," she said to them, "this Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came in here to sleep with me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." You lying son of a gun, man. Ugh. Hate it whenever bad things happen to good people, but as you guys will learn over the next couple of days, God has a reason. God's got a plan. It all works out in the end. Verse 16, she kept his cloak beside her until his master came home. Then she told him the story. "That Hebrew slave you brought us came to me to make sport of me. But as soon as I screamed for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." When his master heard this story, his wife told him, saying, "This is how your slave treated me." He burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. So it wasn't just this raggedy prison where the Egyptians went. No, this is like Alcatraz. All right, Alcatraz of the Egyptian kingdom, if that makes sense. You're not getting out. But surprisingly, Potiphar didn't just kill Joseph. It's possible that knowledge of Joseph's character caused him to suspect that the story was not completely true, in my opinion. So maybe he was like, maybe there is still hope for you, Joseph, but I don't want my wife thinking that I value you more than I value her. So I'm going to throw you in prison. I'm not going to kill you. I'll throw you in prison. Just my humble opinion. But while Joseph was there in prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. And I missed my spot. Verse 22, so the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. So look at that. Joseph is literally now like in charge of this prison from like just being a prisoner. He's already working his way up in the prison system. This man is a certified, bona fide, I don't know. I was going to make a Lakers in 5 joke, but I couldn't think of anything else that rhymed. But anyways, I just think that it's a really cool concept, the story of how temptation can still lead to wronging, even if you don't follow it, and how, you know, you can end up in prison for not doing anything. You know what I mean? I mean, we got wrongful convictions all the time here in America. We got wrongful convictions across the world. And I really think that we should all just be more, more entrusting of God. We should all entrust God more with our walk in our path and how we end up, or where we end up in the future. Because, I mean, like, spoiler alert, Joseph ends up pretty all right. But that's for a different day. I love you guys. I'm praying for y'all. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. See ya.